victory. Santignan in the air, deep right field, home run. In the air into center field, a diving catch by Hallie Santignan.
That's the first pitch she gets. Santignan does it again!
What's up? Welcome back to the fourth episode of In the Box with me. I'm your host, Hallie Santignan, and today with me I have a very special guest, Alyssa Dalton. Alyssa, tell me where you're from and where you played ball at.
I'm from Houston, Texas, and I played at University of Louisiana Lafayette.
Awesome. So today is a special episode because Alyssa has just gotten back last week from playing in France, and she had the opportunity to play in the European Cup and do all kind of cool things, so I figured it'd be a really good episode to have her on here to go even beyond college softball. So just freestyle it. Tell me about it. Just go crazy.
Okay, yeah, France was pretty good. It's different there because softball isn't really a big sport yet, so like the publicity and the TV screening here, we don't have that in France. So it's like you'll play sometimes on soccer fields and they just like chalk out the lines or do it with duct tape. So it's cool to see because it's just like a bunch of girls getting together for the love of the sport. So it was pretty awesome to see that because it's refreshing to see people that love the sport so much that they'll play in any circumstances to be able to just to play.
Yeah, that is crazy. They played with duct tape?
Yeah.
With duct tape as long.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
What happened when the wind blew?
They stayed down.
Really?
Yeah. They put like cones and duct tape and everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Word. That's pretty cool. All right. So, what was the team that you played on in Europe?
It's a French team, but it's like the pharaohs, like, you know, the Egyptian thing. That's what it was. But they'd say like La Pharaons or something like that. So it was out of Evry, France, which is right next to Paris. So.
How long were you there for?
3 months.
Nice. So yeah, that had to be a really cool experience. How did you even get like the opportunity to go and do that?
We had a girl on our team at UL that played in France. She's from France. So at the end of our season, I had a message on Twitter, I think, or Facebook, and it was somebody just basically being like, hey, do you want to come try playing overseas? And I told her yes because I thought my teammate was about to play with me. And then my teammate couldn't because she played for the Florida League, but I ended up still going, so it was pretty cool. It was a good opportunity.
Yeah, how many people were on that team that weren't from France?
You could have 4. So you could have 4 total and then 3 that were allowed to play.
Oh, so all 4 of the, I guess it would be international there. So all 4 couldn't be on the field at the same time?
No, you can only have 3 at a time.
Huh. So what do you think was the biggest difference from, like, besides, like, the physical, like, field and stuff, like, you know, maybe touch on, like, the mental side of things and everything, like, compared to playing in college here to going and playing pro over there?
In France, they don't. It's more about the love of the game and just having fun and enjoying yourself versus, like, college, it's all about statistics and winning and trying to get it done. But in France, it wasn't like that. It was all relaxed, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, but they may not understand that as much. So why don't you touch, this is good, why don't you touch more on why college softball puts so much pressure on you?
Well, obviously college coaches have like a job to do, and like everybody wants to win conference, everybody wants to go to the national championship, everything. So it's like a stress, like you're always trying to meet a deadline, always trying to fit certain criteria within a deadline and everything. So in France, like we had the European Cup and then you have the European Challenge, but throughout that it's more, they focus on like just having fun, letting loose, loving the game, which in college it's more of we have to get this perfect by this time or we're going to lose. So
yeah, and I think that's crazy too because, you know, when you're a kid and you're trying to go play college softball, like, you love the game. Mm-hmm. And that's always been your dream since you were a kid, you know? Like, I'm going to grow up and go play college softball, and then you get here and it's completely different.
Yeah.
How did you create a balance between, like, it being a job, a full-time job, and still loving it?
I'm figuring out that balance still. Yeah, in college, I think I put too much pressure on the fact that it was a job, and I just wanted to do what everybody expected of me versus just remembering that it is just a game and that you're just there to enjoy yourself and have fun. So going over to France really helped me remember that, because everybody around you is just there for the love of the game and just to grow the game again. So it's kind of like how softball was here like 15 years ago, where nobody knew what softball was, nobody cared, but they were trying to get people involved, trying to get people out there. So I'm still learning that balance, to be honest, but...
All right, so tell me a little history about your college career.
My freshman year, I played at Oklahoma, and then I transferred to UL after the end of my freshman year, and played at UL for 4 years because COVID year happened, so I got to play an extra year, and we won a few Sun Belt championships. We went to regionals, whole 9 yards, but I got player of the year my junior year, newcomer of the year my sophomore year, and I just made the conference teams my senior year because I broke my thumb my senior year, so I missed half of it. But yeah, it was great. UL was awesome. The fans were awesome. Everybody basically was like family there. They cook for you. They want to hang out with you all the time. So it was a great atmosphere to be in.
Yeah, definitely. So you were talking about you got your COVID year. What was it like for you, like, before we knew that we were going to get a COVID year? Like, in March when we got shut down in, was it 2020?
Mm-hmm.
In 2020 when we got shut down, what was going through your head at that time?
Well, it was my birthday.
Awesome.
The day we found out. But I just got done with weights, and they called a team meeting before practice, and they told us. And I just was basically like, well, all my hard work gone down the drain. Like, there goes my dreams. But we ended up getting fortunate enough to have the extra year. But that day, I remember all the seniors just, like, got together in a room, and we were all like, what are we going to do, like, if they give us another year? And we all kind of agreed, like, we're going to come back, we're going to do it for the team, blah, 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 and just see where it goes. But, yeah, it was on my birthday, so that was a good 22nd birthday.
Your birthday's March 12th?
Yeah.
Nice. That's a date that'll, like, always be carved into my head.
Because it's my birthday, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, so COVID for me, whenever we got shut down, it was hard for me because I was a junior.
Yeah.
So, like, I had one more year to play. And during COVID, after the shutdown, before we even knew, like, we were going to get another year to play,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it took them a while to come out with that. Like, it
Yeah.
wasn't just, like, a direct turnaround. So, like, we went through a long period of time before of just, like, not knowing, like, what we were going to do and just feeling lost. And I'm sure you felt that for sure being a senior, huh?
Yeah. I had a lot of people reaching out to me, just like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of avoiding social media, my phone, everything, just because everybody was sitting there trying to apologize to me and thank me for being there and trying to find what my next step was in life, because I was definitely not ready for it at the time.
Right. It just, like, shoots you into reality.
Yeah.
Into a reality that nobody was prepared for.
Yeah.
We found out a very different way. We were supposed to have practice at, like, 1 or something that day. And, we're just on Twitter, and we see, like, all the Ivy League schools, like, canceled the rest of their season. And we're like, oh, crap. Like, what does this mean for us? And, I mean, at the time, Tarleton was still D2.
Yeah.
So we're like, crap, we're going to get the short end of the stick on everything here, And so we're like, okay, Ivy Leagues are shut down. And we're just, like, refreshing, just waiting for all the news updates to come out of, like, how far is this going to go. And we also had, like, a little hope. We're like, ooh, maybe they'll forget about us in D2 and we'll get to finish playing. Like, we had that little sliver of hope. But our coach ended up pushing practice back till, like, 3 o'clock. And he was like, I'm supposed to find out at 3:30 what happens. So, like, for 30 minutes practice, we're just, like, sweating, like, oh, like, what's going to happen, 3:30 came and went. It ended up being, like, 3:45, 4 o'clock. And we ended up all being out on the field at that time. And he got a phone call, and you could see it in his face. We were like, crap, we're done. And so he just, like, hung up the phone, and he turned around, and he was like, pick it up. And we were like, no way. Like, no, this can't be real. And I just remember, so I was a junior then, so I was just, like, trying to sympathize for the seniors, and that was tough, just seeing them in there just bawling their eyes out, which I was bawling too, because we were projected to, like, go really far that year.
Mm-hmm.
We had just come off of beating the number 1 ranked team in the nation, and they were undefeated, and we double dipped them, and then like 2 days later is whenever we got shut down. So like we were coming in hot, we had good momentum rolling, and we were like, we're taking the Natty this year. So, and then we knew we were going into D1, and then we were pretty much, we can't go to postseason after that, not especially going into a first year D1 program, like we weren't gonna make it that far anyway. But it just hurt to know like, you're done.
Yeah.
But I went through a lot in the interim of like figuring out what was gonna happen. Like just struggling with if I even wanted to play again. So I'm like, I've gone through the heartbreak of being done playing. Do I want to go back for one more year just to go through it all again? Did you have, whenever they offered us all our extra year, did you like have any battle with it in your head at all, or were you just like, yeah, I'm playing?
Oh yeah. More the physical side though, like just being in pain all the time and having certain injuries in places. Like I just didn't know if I wanted to put myself through another off season and then another season and post everything. So that was the biggest struggle for me. Not necessarily moving on to working, just figuring out if I was ready and I could put my body through it for another year. So that was where I had to put it into play. But
yeah, that was me too. And that's something I really haven't covered a lot on the podcast, which I plan to next week, talking about injuries and stuff. But how much of a toll it takes on your body playing college softball, and especially as a female.
Yeah.
Like, it's rough. What's the biggest, like, thing that you've gone through?
I tore my labrum, my throwing arm, my freshman year, and so, like, if you go get your it repaired, you can't play anymore. So you basically can't throw, you can't have the same movement, the degree, everything. So just having to decide whether, okay, am I going to get surgery on my labrum or am I just going to play through it? And obviously I decided to play through it, but I had the same surgery on my left shoulder and I have like no lateral movement with it. So I just have known better than to try and get that surgery on the right.
How did you hurt your glove arm?
Just throwing too much, throwing wrong.
Your glove arm.
Oh, my glove arm? Sorry.
It's okay.
I was trying out for the USA team, and I dove into third, and I got caught on the third baseman's knee, and it popped out. And so then it was done. But this tear was a lot worse than my right one. I had to have surgery, like, a few weeks later. It was, like, immediate, yeah. I chipped my shoulder blade, everything. It was really bad.
Dang, that's rough. I tore my glove arm as well, my labrum in my glove arm, but just diving for a ball. I just was running real hard, dove real.
I'll learn how to dive right.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I do. I need to be better. My coach will say the same. Well, if you would have dove right, you wouldn't have torn it. You're probably right. But I caught the ball.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah, right. So you said that you were trying out for the USA team. Well, tell me about all that.
Well, you get like an invite list put out, and if you're invited to the tryout, you only go to like the 3-day tryout, which is basically scrimmaging. And then if you don't go to the invite, you go to a tryout beforehand, which is like you sign up for it, you try out. Then once you make that, you go to the invite tryout. So it's like a week of trying out for stuff. But I didn't make it that time, obviously, because I got hurt. But a few years later, I did make it.
Oh,
and
really?
so, yeah.
What year was that?
My freshman year of college. So I made it December my freshman year, and then I played the summer after my freshman year of college.
How does that work with your eligibility?
It doesn't affect it. There was no Olympics at the time, so it was just like during the summer you go and play, and then afterward you go play college. But
Gotcha. So for the USA team, is that just like preparing you like for the Olympics, or what is it?
That's basically what it was, yeah.
Do y'all play games?
Yeah, we play in the World Cup, we played in Worlds, which we won, and you just play different countries, basically like Japan, everybody from all over.
Run me through your week of playing at a Power 5 school. Like, how are your weeks lined out?
Well, we'll have weights or like conditioning in the morning, pretty early, like 6 o'clock, which is way too early to do anything. Then you'll have class from 8 to 12, 8 to 1, whenever. And then you'll have practice from like 2 to 6 or 2 to 5, depending on the day. And then after practice, I would have class again. So I would get more mornings off, but have to practice or go to class late at night. And then you have study hall on top of that. So whatever your GPA is will determine how many study hall hours you have a week, and you have to get that many hours within the week or you get a consequence. But yeah, it was pretty exhausting. It's like you're running all the time, and people don't really understand like how much you actually do as a student athlete. Like, you get a lot of benefits, but you also are 24/7 doing stuff and have responsibilities. So
Right, and I feel like that's probably not a huge thing that people understand a lot, especially like other students, just like NARPs. And I feel like we definitely just get overlooked a lot, as not overlooked, but talked down on a lot by regular students. Just like, oh, they just get whatever they want. They just get this and that. Did you run like experience stuff like that at UL?
Oh yeah, I had some professors that also were like, just because you're a student athlete, you can't think that you get everything. And it was like, I'm a student athlete, but I literally am working from 6 to 7 p.m. at least if I don't have study hall that night. Right. So it was just frustrating. But I mean, it's understandable. They don't understand, and you don't get it unless you're in the atmosphere. So it's a whole different world.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we have a very similar schedule to what you just described to at a mid-major, and yeah, it's exhausting. How did you keep your mind and your body healthy and strong through all that?
Making sure I went to treatment all the time, even though I didn't want to, or spend that extra time going to the trainers. I would just do it, even if my mind was telling me not to. But also finding hobbies outside of softball that I enjoyed. So, like, I would bake a lot, and just doing that every off day or something, just to keep my mind off of softball and off of everything that I have to do, so I don't stress myself out too much. That was a big thing, was just finding something outside of the game that I love to do.
Yeah, I think that's huge, is on your off day, taking your off day and not thinking about softball, doing softball or anything. Because it gets exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, literally living, breathing softball. And you think about it, like when you're a kid, like that's what you want. That's what you think you want. And I mean, it is good. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's a challenge.
Too much pressure.
It is a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure. Knowing that, like, you have a full-time job, you work 40 hours a week, and you wake up one day and you're like, not feeling too great. I don't think I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have that option here. Not an option.
Not at all.
I mean, now with all the COVID protocols and stuff, there's a little bit more leeway. Like you wake up with a little bit of a high temperature.
Good luck pulling that off.
Where?
Pretending you have COVID. Good luck.
No, I'm not saying pretending you have COVID, but I'm saying like this year's a lot more chill now. I mean, we're in Texas, so it's COVID's not even really a thing here, or they act like it's not. But last year, with all the COVID policies and everything, I don't know what y'all had to go through with all the COVID policies, but like temp checks every day, if not twice a day. We had to wear wristbands around saying like, hey, we passed our COVID screen for the day.
COVID test twice a week.
Yeah,
it's
such a good time. But you know how to get around that?
No.
You just get COVID, and then they don't test you for...
See, I didn't do that, so I had all the COVID tests.
Yeah, see, I got COVID like 3 weeks before season started. I didn't have to test a single time during season.
It's nice.
It was nice. It was nice because I didn't get like ill. I didn't feel bad. Like one of our weekly COVID tests came back positive, and I was like, oh, okay. Along with like 9 of us. I think we had 3 or 4 girls last year that had to be tested during season because so many of us got COVID.
We only had like 2 that actually had COVID and couldn't be tested. The rest, I had to get tested every time.
How did you manage that? I mean, y'all lived in a city with a lot of people.
Yeah. It was kind of like a bubble, so you couldn't really go out. You couldn't go out to eat. You had to like pick up your food. You couldn't hang out with people unless they were your teammates. So, yeah, that was pretty much it. Just living in a bubble, and if you were around your teammates, you had to like fill out a form saying that you hung out with your teammates outside of softball, because if they tested positive, you were in contact tracing. So very strict. It was a lot, but
we had those rules as well, but it got to the point where even when we were hanging out with literally just our teammates, that's how the whole team ended up getting COVID.
Yeah.
We had, last year, whenever we split up into our, like, purple-black, like, World Series, where we just split into 2 teams and played each other, we had team dinner, but, like, the 2 separate teams. The first week of games, it was, like, 4 days before that, and we tested, like, a day before the first game, and the girl that cooked dinner for the opposite team tested positive for COVID, so that entire half of the team had to quarantine for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know how many people ended up testing positive after that, but it was a few. We didn't have as strict of rules where, like, we had to, like, pick up every meal
Yeah.
until, like, half the team ended up getting COVID. Then he started cracking down on us a good bit. But, I mean, we live in a really small town, so it's not. I feel like you would think it wouldn't be as easy to get to catch it, but I feel like at the same time it was easier to catch it because you're hanging out with.
Yeah.
There's only so many people you can hang out with, so as soon as one person gets it, everybody's getting it.
Well, Louisiana's a hot spot too.
Yes.
So I remember at conference tournament, one of our managers got really sick and they thought he had COVID and he had to go get tested, and we had to sit there and wait for his results just to finish conference tournament, and they thought we were done. So we were all sitting there at conference and they were just like, okay, well, your season might be over, but we'll let you know. But he ended up testing negative. He just had like a stomach virus or something, but
Jeez.
it was
That's
crazy.
gotta be stressful.
Yeah. It was a manager too, so it was just like, oh my gosh, if we can't play because I'm a manager.
Oh yeah, no, that would be awful. They didn't let us have like extra people around. Like we had our athletic trainer and that was it. It was us, the coaches, our athletic trainer. And did y'all have limitations on how many people y'all could travel?
Yes, we did.
How many did y'all?
It was like 20, I think.
Yeah, I think we traveled 21.
Yeah.
So you played at a Power 5 school. What is one of the like biggest highlights of your career? Like just that one of the little guys like me doesn't get to experience.
That's a loaded question.
Huh?
That's a loaded question. I would say, I don't remember what year it was, maybe 2018. We played Florida at home, and it was like sold out, and like everybody was there, and we ended up like we were the underdogs,
Right.
Florida, and I remember we ended up beating them on a walk-off home run, and we were all just like crazy. Like we celebrated that night like no other. It was
Oh, I
insane.
imagine.
But like all the conference championships, those are great. But like to beat Florida when nobody thought we would win, like seeing social media say there's no chance, and then we just walk off. It was awesome. Yeah.
Who was throwing for Florida? Do you remember?
Kelly Barnhill.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's huge. So you said you came from OU.
Mhm.
What was that like, playing there?
It was good. It was a different atmosphere. Yeah, it was good, I guess. They were strict over there for sure. They have a really tight schedule, so I was not very good at following it, which was my problem because, freshmen just trying to live their life,
Right.
not really understanding what commitment to softball was in college. But yeah, it was good. The dorms were really nice, but everything was like on a time schedule. So like at this time you had to be there, at this time you had to be there, and you couldn't steer away from that, which is where I struggled.
Yeah, that would be hard because you have to have a life outside of softball. Or it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
ridiculously mentally draining.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
So playing at a big school like that, you've got to know some pretty big names in softball. Tell me about that. Who do you know? Experiences and memories you've had with these people or anything?
Yeah, I've played with Shay Knighton, Cindy Romero, Paige Lowry, Paige Parker, Nicole Penley, all of them, and they're all super great athletes. Like, they push you to be your best self. They just want what's best for the team, what's best for you. And so if you're not, like, living up to that standard, they'll remind you, like, hey, go a little harder today, or hey, you're slacking. But, yeah, just great athletes that love the game and are trying to grow it, so.
That's got to be really cool being able to play under people with, like, such big heart and obviously huge talent for the game. And it has to have a huge impact on you, especially you were younger than, it's got to have a huge impact on the kind of athlete that you are, mentally and physically.
Yeah, it just showed you, like, how you want to be when you're older. You want what's best for everybody around you. You want to push people, even if they're your competition at your position. Like, you just want the team, you want to do what's best for the team always. So it all comes down to that, and just like seeing them and the way they would carry themselves kind of shows you like, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be that great and that great of a teammate to other people. So
Yeah, for sure. What's your best memory from playing at OU? It doesn't have to be softball related.
oh man, it's a long time. I would probably say when we played Baylor at home, it was like we won one, we lost one, and we were about to play again. And then I remember like we lost, but it was like a really bad game, like errors all around, everything. And the next game we just came out and we just like crushed it. We killed it, and it was the intensity, the heart, the fire to win was amazing. So that was probably my favorite memory at Oklahoma.
Did y'all do like cheers in the dugout at OU?
Not really, just
Yeah,
like kind of
just hype it up.
clapping, yeah, talking to other people.
See, we do big cheers here.
Oh.
Like, we holler. We
Do
get
one.
into it. No. You'll see it tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. What was the biggest thing that you remember from transferring that was like the biggest difference going from OU to UL?
The southern food and the people. So when you go to UL, everybody's like super friendly. They want you basically to be part of their family, which at Oklahoma, all the fans love the game. They're great fans, but it's not like personal with them.
Right, it's too many of them.
Yeah. Well, at UL, it's just like you'll have 100 messages after a game of people just saying like, come over, come for dinner, let's go do this. And I'm like, yo, I can't be friends with everybody.
I can't move either.
Yeah.
I know when I'm done with the game, I'm like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Taking a shower, going to bed. What is the biggest life lesson you learned from softball, college softball? I told you we're getting deep. Come on.
That you are not how you play. Like, your purpose and your worth of a person is not determined by how you play on the field.
I think that's huge.
Yeah.
And people don't talk about it, especially not enough to kids with like the big dreams of going to play in college.
No.
It's like, you're going to play softball, you're going to live your dream. Nobody talks about how what you do on the field doesn't determine the outcome of your life.
Because when you're in the moment, you think it is your life.
I mean, it is your life.
But you'd think like, okay, well, if I don't play good for this game, my life's over.
Right.
And it's a little part of your life. It's an experience.
Yeah, it's an experience. It's a teaching. It's not meant to ruin your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, how you play does not determine the worth of who you are. I mean, you can have a bad day, and at the end of the day, I'm still me. It's not going to change anything.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's going to not give me a job after college because of my batting average. So what was the recruiting process for you like?
It was basically you sent a bunch of emails to your different college coaches, telling them like when you were playing, where you were playing, and when I was getting recruited, I would send like 100 emails a weekend just to any school basically, inviting them to come watch me play, and that's how I got my name out there, was because if one school liked me, they would talk to another school and so on. So it was good. Yeah, I committed my freshman year of high school.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I've got to know, how was that mentally for you as, what are you, like 15?
Yeah.
That's crazy that you're picking your future, like your literal future, into being an adult when you're 15 years old.
Yeah. Well, it took a lot of pressure off because the recruiting game back then, before they came out with the new rules, was just insane.
It really was.
So it was like everybody felt pressed to get committed. So being able to commit so early was, honestly, took a lot of pressure off just tournament ball wise, but it also added pressure because like I was sitting there watching the people that I had to live up to. So it was like, okay, well, I better get better or I'm gonna suck. So
Yeah, that's crazy. That's it. I've talked on the previous podcast about that, the new recruiting rule. So you're for it, where they have to wait to talk to kids. I do too. I think we've been having like recruits coming in the last few weeks, and it's crazy because they're like older. They're like 17 years old. So I'm like, okay, you can actually make a like almost grown-up decision
Yeah.
for yourself. You're not a kid still playing with your DS, trying to figure out where you're going to college in 4 years.
Yeah. Well, if you're that young, it's also like you see one school and you get treated like the king of that school for a weekend and
Oh,
you're
yeah.
just sold like immediately. So,
What's one thing that you know now that you wish you would have known before, like, playing college softball?
don't forget to love the game. Like, don't sit there and play for results. Don't play for the end goal or whatever you have in your mind of what you want to do with your career. Just play because you love softball, which is something I forgot during college. I was putting so much pressure on myself and just trying to perform. I forgot, like, just to enjoy it. Like, when I get a hit, like, have some fun with it. Don't
Right.
just, oh, yeah, it's a hit. I got to get 12 more. Like, no, just enjoy in the moment.
Yeah. I definitely had to come to that realization after, like, my sophomore year, because, I mean, my stats were terrible for my first 2 years because that's how I was playing. I was, like, playing for the numbers and not for the game and for myself. And that was, I say, my junior year. It was my senior year, but junior because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that was me last year. My goal at the beginning of the season, I was like, I'm not going to look at my stats.
Yeah.
I told myself, I was like, I'm going out here and playing for me and playing for my team. Like, I'm not looking at numbers at all, which, I mean, occasionally, like, I would see it on accident, or people on the bus would be talking about their numbers, and they'd be like, oh, Hallie, you've got this, or you did this. I'm like, I didn't want to know that, 'cause
Yeah.
it keeps you out of your head, which probably at your level, it's where the level you play at, it's probably a little bit different, because, I mean, obviously, you're playing for a much, much bigger goal than we were playing for,
Mm-hmm.
because we can't. Not right now, but...
You can do anything you believe in.
Yes, but not whenever you're in a transition period and you're not allowed to go to postseason.
Yeah. Well, that too.
What was the transfer process for you like?
There
I was
was
saying, like, was it, like, just walk me through the whole thing? Because that was, you transferred before even, like, the rule change and everything. And, I mean, a lot has changed since then. That was, like, what, 4 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So,
5.
5?
Yeah.
Dang, we're old.
Yeah.
You're old.
Yeah. There was no portal, so when you wanted to transfer, you had to meet with your coach, like, one-on-one, tell them, like, I want to transfer, and then you had to go and meet with the staff of whatever school you're at and get a, like, letter of dismissal, basically, like, saying that you're allowed to transfer and where you can go and where you can't go. And then after that, when you go, it's basically like recruiting all over again. You just email a bunch of schools, tell them, like, this is where I'm from, I'm transferring, this is my stats, here's a letter saying I'm allowed to transfer, contact me if you're interested, basically. And so then, like, schools will reach out to you, they'll call you, you'll go on visits all over again. But you only got 5 official visits. So, like, going back to the visits, doing everything all over again, and then picking your place. So it was a lot. It was a lot of character building, speaking in person, one-on-one. It's not like we weren't able to go online and just be like, hey, I want to leave.
Yeah.
So
Whenever I transferred, they were, like, just now starting the transfer portal for D2. So, like, and I knew nothing about the transfer portal. They were like, oh, you're in the portal. I was like, what the heck is a portal? Like, what is it? I literally had no idea.
Yeah.
I just thought I was going, like, jumping in head first into the ocean whenever I was transferring. Yeah, I was like, oh, I guess I just better start emailing people. So you said that they could limit you to where you couldn't go, places you couldn't go?
So I couldn't go anywhere within the conference or anywhere in the state. So, like, any school that they would potentially play, I couldn't transfer to.
Really?
Yeah. So it was like anywhere in the Big 12 or anywhere in Oklahoma, you weren't allowed to transfer to. I could go anywhere else, but not those.
So you never played against OU?
I did at UL, but it
Okay.
was like for a preseason tournament. It
Okay.
wasn't.
I thought I had you beat on something.
Nope. Sorry.
It's okay. Y'all probably did a lot better than
Maybe next year.
we did. How did that game go?
It was so bad. It was so cold. It was like 30 degrees
Y'all played them at UL?
at OU,
Mm.
and it was like February, so it was freezing. That was horrible.
We played them at Houston.
Was it warm?
It was like, it wasn't freezing.
I think I watched that game.
Why?
I think you were playing, and
You're right. Y'all did watch it.
mhm.
Got so many videos. It wasn't freezing. It wasn't hot. It was I had sleeves on, but I didn't have to have them on. You know what I mean?
Comfortable.
Yeah, it was comfortable. Jumping back to UL, you know how, like, on NCAA softball, they do, like, the takeovers and stuff where you get to, like, go around all these different schools, campuses and stuff, and you see, like, the big schools, like OU, Alabama, and all that stuff, and you see, like, all these nutrition labs and all this stuff. Did y'all have stuff like that?
Yeah,
what
we
were, like,
had
some big perks that y'all had?
We had a nutrition station, which they would feed us 2 meals a day, basically. And so you just, like, walk up there. It's right by the weight room. So when you go to weights, you can grab your food. And they just give you, like, 2 full meals from a local restaurant, like, every day. And they're always healthy, so that was good. But, yeah, I would just say that. And then our facilities were top tier, like the training room, the weight room, all of it. It was like... Yeah, at a lot of schools you see it, okay, this is the football training room, this is the football this, and then here's the girls. But at UL, it's like, it's all the same. So, like, the football weight room is the softball weight room. So, like, if softball's in there, football can't come and take over. Like, it's softball. And whoever is in season has priority.
Oh, really?
So, yeah,
That's cool.
It was really nice to see, like, an equal balance within men and women's sports there.
That is cool, especially nowadays with all, like, this past year or two with all the equality in men and women's sports, which is huge, I think. So did you ever experience, like, outside of that, did you ever experience any, like, non-equality things between men and women's sports?
I mean, yeah, there's people out there that just don't see them the same. Like, you'll be walking around and they'll be like, move, like, this is the men's time, and it's just...
Really? From, like, your own peers? Like, the male athletes at UL?
Yeah.
Wow.
We'll just basically be like, move, like, this isn't your field, and we're just like, okay, well...
Dang, that's rough.
Say some words, but...
Yeah, that's tough. I've never experienced anything like that, like, between, like, athletes at my own school.
Mm-hmm.
Before we wrap it up, I want to jump back to your experience playing pro ball and stuff. Tell me just, like, about the people and stuff over there, just, like, your experience. Like, I know you touched a little bit on, like, how it was so different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, go into detail about that.
Well, the people in France were very nice. They were all super understanding, and they all spoke English very well, which I didn't think that they would. But they were also so worried about, like, me not feeling at home or me speaking English and not being able to understand them. And they were just always messaging me, like, reaching out, trying to take care of me. Like, we know you're far from home, which I can imagine, like, if you're an international player coming to America, if you don't have people doing that, it's probably really hard. Like, you miss home, you're homesick. But there was not one time over there that I was like, oh my God, I have to go home. Like, I need to. I just wanted to stay. Like, I was like, I want to be around these people. They're genuine. They're nice. They care about my well-being, you know. And, yeah, it was a great experience. Like, they were all amazing. They all took care of me. They would have done anything if I would have asked them, but...
What was your biggest transition, like, once you got over there?
They eat dinner really late. So they eat dinner at, like, 10 o'clock. And
What?
For, like, 2 hours.
2 hours?
Yeah, so they all sit down together. They're up late, and they just eat and talk and hang out. And
Why does it take 2 hours to eat dinner?
because every meal that you eat over there, you eat as a family. It's your family time. So you get your food, and you're going to sit there for a few hours. So you might as well just get comfortable.
Fair enough. That's cool. So you were telling me earlier, so I want you to tell them, like, about your living situation over there.
Yeah, I lived with one of the coaches, and it was a 4-bedroom house, but you could have, like, 5 people in it, so there was, like, enough beds for 5 people. And I lived in my own room by myself, and then when we had, like, AJ come play, she had a room by herself, and then you had 2 people upstairs, and it was just, yeah. But eventually everybody ended up, like, one girl went home, and then AJ ended up going home after the European Cup. And so it was just me and one other girl, and she lived upstairs, and I lived on the 2nd floor, which to them is the 1st floor. So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
So the 2nd floor is the 1st floor?
Yeah, so it's like they
have,
count
like, a
the 1st
basement?
floor as a 0.
What?
So the 1st floor is 0, and then you go 1.
Huh.
So when you go up, because you go up one flight of stairs, it's the first floor.
Okay, I see where they could say that. So, like, if you're just talking, like, where are you? You say, I'm downstairs, or what? You just say, I'm at ground zero? Or-
Yeah, I'm downstairs. Well, I say ground floor because it confused
Okay.
me, but
Yeah, that's fair. I would probably say that, too.
Yeah.
I'm down here.
come to the living room.
I'm just down here.
Find me.
So, like, I saw, like, on your social media and stuff, you would go and hang out with other people on the team. Was there people on your team that, like, lived there and, like, had their own places and stuff? Or were you just always at your coach's house?
Yeah, there was people that lived, like, around. So it was, like, the team was based outside of Paris, like I said, but a lot of people lived around Paris. So, like, if we ever wanted to meet up as a team, we would go be like, hey, let's meet at this restaurant in Paris at this time. And you take the train, which is public transportation is not fun. But, yeah, you take the train, you go meet them downtown, and then the problem is after you eat, again, dinner's at 10, the last train's at, like, 11 or 12. So, like, you would have to manage your time to try to make the train back home, or you'd have to be stuck Ubering, which was expensive from Paris. So,
Oh, yeah, I could imagine. So the food, tell me about the food over there.
it was amazing. It was all so good, and it was all healthy. Even if it wasn't healthy, it was healthy. The McDonald's was healthy.
Really?
Yes, it was amazing.
How do you make McDonald's healthy?
It's just none of it's processed, none of it's, like, fried in oil all the time. Like, it's just, oh my gosh.
So what do they give you, grilled nuggets?
No, they'll give you, like, chicken nuggets, like regular nuggets, but it's not, like, they don't use, like, peanut oil. I don't know what they use, but it's, like, healthy.
Okay. You don't feel like crap after
Yeah,
you eat
you
it.
don't want to puke
Meal at
after you eat
McDonald's.
it.
Do you miss it? Would you go and play again?
Yes, I would like to move there eventually, hopefully.
If you move there, you're going to start a team?
Yeah, you want to play?
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. I need to go pro. I need to figure out I need to pick up my game.
Yeah, come play in France.
Are you going to try and go play again, or are you done?
Yeah, I probably will. I have to see what's going on with my body again, physically, but after that.
Sorry. Did you consider that a lot before you went and played?
Yes, but I had also already committed because, again, I thought my teammate was going over there. So I was like, yeah, let's go. And then I committed to it, and then she backed out. So I was just like, okay, well, I already said I'd go. So
Yeah.
can't back out now. But
So, what position did you play over there? Tell me about that.
I played shortstop, and I pitched.
And you had no history of pitching before you went over there?
High school.
High school?
Mhm.
How was that?
It was good. I actually threw better than I ever thought I would. So, yeah, I wish I had a little more practice, or I wish I knew I was going to be pitching, but, you know, it worked out. So, I got all my pitches. I could strike you out.
Oh, you probably could.
Oh,
For sure. Throw
Just
me a
my
rise
top.
ball, I'm done.
Good to know. That's my best pitch.
Perfect. On purpose?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Dang athlete over here.
Yeah, for sure.
So you said you played with AJ. AJ who?
Andrews.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
It was good. She was really nice. She's a lot more down to earth than you would think because obviously she won the Golden Glove and she's like famous and everything. But yeah, she was really down to earth. She was really fun. She was always down for spontaneous adventures. So it was nice to play her and actually meet her. I know her sister Aaliyah pretty well.
Oh, really?
So I talked to her a little bit before we went and played, but when we got there, it was nice to like have a friend from the States that,
Yeah.
you know,
You can
like,
relate to a little
yeah,
bit. At least played in the same state.
yeah.
It's really cool. Is there anything that we didn't talk about that you would like to talk about?
No, I'm good. I'm excited to see you play tomorrow.
All right.
You better show up, hit it over.
Oh, definitely. If I hit it over, like, you can't. You have to come to every game if I hit the ball over tomorrow. Well, Alyssa, thank you very much for coming and talking to me, and thank y'all for listening. The next episode will be about injuries and playing through them in college. So stay tuned for that one, and have a good day.
Thanks.